All right, segment number 3 is our picks against the spread. We do top 25 and ACC. We're going to try to go through this pretty quick because I know you guys got to go to bed or maybe watch the rest of Monday Night Raw, but or maybe Monday Night Football. Did you notice that Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler are doing the Monday Night Football? And it's kind of weird. I don't know if I like it or not, but they seem to be doing a good job. And so I got it kind of in the background here. I don't know what the score is yet. But, okay, here we go. 19-10, Pittsburgh over New York with 12 minutes to go in the fourth. All right, so first one up, Cincinnati, or at Austin Peay at Cincinnati. This is an off game, so we're not going to count this one. But I did want to mention that I know you guys are going to go ahead and rub it in, so I'm going to go ahead and just get it out there. I said,
let me pick first.
I said that Pittsburgh would not be able to score over 27.5 points because they didn't score over 27.5 points or beat anybody by 27.5 points last year, rather. Well, I was completely wrong. Pittsburgh came out and trounced Austin Peay. You guys tried to convince me that I was way off. And if without that game, guys, I would have tied you at 5-3 overall. You guys both had 5-3. I went 4-4. So still 50-50, at a 50%. You guys a little bit over 50%. But that game, I'm just going to go ahead and get it out here. Hey, you know what? Just because they never scored that much last year, that's only one part of the equation, okay? You got to look at the big picture. And you got to listen to your friends, too, sometimes, all right? If they say you're crazy, you know what? Odds are you're crazy. So I get that off. I get that out of here. All right, now the first one up is Boston College at Duke. This one's an interesting one because Boston College hasn't played a game yet, and Duke has. Duke did what we thought they could do and held it close. Now, Duke is actually the favorite in this game, -4.5 at home. So with Chase Bryce, knowing what he can do, knowing that he's limited, he doesn't have that Clemson, offensive playmakers around him, can they beat Boston College by 5 or more? That's the question. At home. Now, here's my thing. Walt Deptula told me that he felt like of all the teams in the ACC, Boston College might be one that kind of shock you. They got that transfer. I believe Houston reminded me the transfer from Notre Dame is eligible to play. I don't know if he's going to be the quarterback or not. Yes. I don't know. But I will tell you that they have revamped their defense with a bunch of NFL experienced coaches. Not only that, their head coach, NFL experienced head coach. They have a running back that the guys up there in Boston are saying is just as good as A.J. Dillon. Is not going to be a drop off there. They got a quarterback that might be pretty good. They got a running back that's good. They got coaches that can coach defense and have proven it. And I'm going to pick Duke. I'm going to pick Boston College, rather. Boston College +4.5. That's what I'm going with.
All right. I just want to note, first of all, that in our group message today about what we're going to talk about on the show, that Morgan said we got to make our picks with like 1 or 2 sentence maximum. Okay. I don't know how many sentences he just said, but it was like 20. Okay. So we're going to try to reel that in a little bit. Look, this is a difficult one. I really wanted Houston to go first so I could just copy what Houston said.
You know what? Actually, I thought about that, Al, not to interrupt you. Houston, yes, you do need to go. You do need to go first because, we don't want people. We don't want people on our show. We don't want our fans to think that you're just cheating off Alan's paper. So Houston, you go first.
Okay. Well, I'm actually going to go against Morgan here. I'm picking Duke with 4.5. Like we just bragged on Chase Bryce. We just bragged on how well he played. He gets a home game now. I don't think that Boston College defense is better than what he faced last week, and he did a very good job against Notre Dame. I think he's got a very good, capable running back and Jackson. I can't remember his first name, if it's Deshaun or Sean Jackson, but he's a good player. I feel like Duke's going to win this game. It's going to be close, but I think it's going to be over that 4.5. It's going to be somewhere in the range of like 21-14 or like 24-17 or something like that.
Houston, I'm glad you agree with me. Okay. You could sense that I was going to pick Duke in this one. Okay. Yes. I did pick Duke in this one. I had this one for a long time debating what I was going to pick. I like Jerkovich, Boston College, but I think the big deal for me is that they haven't played a game yet. I think that's a big deal. There's a lot of first game jitters that happen, and we saw it. We saw it with some other teams this past weekend. And I'm going to take Duke because they have a game experience, and I really like what I saw from Chase Bryce.
Okay, all right. Well, all right. So the next one is Louisiana Lafayette, a one that they're, at least from what I'm saying, it looks like they're ranked now. So at Georgia State. Now, for whatever reason, I'm looking at a couple places. They're predicting this is -17. They're saying get Georgia State and the points. That's what some of these people's predictions are. I'm like, well, they just walked into Iowa State and beat them by 14 or so. I'm thinking they can beat Georgia State by more than that. I don't know. I know that Georgia State. This is one of the things they beat Tennessee. Okay, well, that was the first game of the season. They ended up going 7-6. I do like that they have a freshman quarterback, Cornelius Brown, and a wide receiver, Cornelius McCoy. Cornelius to Cornelius. That alone almost made me pick them. Cornelius to Cornelius for the touchdown. I would just love to say that. However, I gotta stay on the Billy Napier train and take them -17.
So one of these two coaches will end up being the head coach at South Carolina, and it's not going to be Billy Napier. I feel like Sean Elliott's going to be one of that coach that takes over eventually for Will Muschamp. He's actually done a great job at Georgia State. I'm actually going to say Georgia State with the points. I don't think they win. I think ULL's got more talent. Also, look, shout out here, Chapman High School grad, guy in the news from Chapman High School that went to Georgia State, Michele Colasurdo, thought he had myocarditis, but because college football was played, he was able to do screening and found that he did not have myocarditis and that he's able to be cleared and played again. And with that, they rally around the team. Georgia State at least loses by 14.
Well, Morgan, I got to tell you, it's either going to be a really good week for you or a really bad week for you. Okay, because I am taking Georgia State with the points as well, and it's really because Louisiana just had this huge victory. Okay, this victory where they came out of nowhere, this underdog victory, and you know how they sometimes come off of those highs and crash back down the next week. I think there's going to be a little of that at play here. I'm going to take Georgia State plus the points.
All right, and I can't blame you for that. And really, you don't want to pick any of the ones I'm picking. But Syracuse at Pittsburgh. Now, I didn't have any faith on Pittsburgh, but here's the thing: the point spread is -21.5, and we're using Odd Shark on Monday night here. Okay, -21.5. Syracuse is bad, but are they more than 3 touchdowns bad against Pitt? That's the question. I don't even want to answer.
We're not telling you.
I don't even want to answer, but I'm going underdog. Give me Syracuse plus 21.5.
Morgan, look, I went with Syracuse last week. I thought Syracuse was talented enough to at least keep the game within 22 points with North Carolina. All right, and North Carolina's a good team. And then they were close for a while. It's 10-6. And then it was blowout city after that. If they can't hang around with him, this might be the worst defense in the ACC. They are bad news bears, man. And Pittsburgh looked good. Mark Whipple's offense in Pittsburgh looked amazing, at least in his first game. I know it was Austin Peay, your favorite team ever, but I mean they looked a little bit more spry than they have in the past. I'm taking Pittsburgh in this. This might bite me in the rear end later, but I think Pittsburgh's going to cover.
Just to shake things up a bit, all right, I'm going to take Syracuse plus the points here. I'm going to take Syracuse plus the points here. I like Pittsburgh a lot too, Houston. I thought they looked really good. But again, I mean, what kind of idiot would pick Austin Peay to cover a spread, right?
I know,
Austin
right?
Peay is the worst of the worst. Okay, so I'm going to give Syracuse a little bit of credit for holding North Carolina as long as they did. Okay, so I'm going to give Syracuse a little bit of credit. I thought their defense showed a little bit at times. Even I know you said how bad it was. I think they showed a little bit of ability. Again, North Carolina is a prolific offense. We understand that, and they held them to. I mean, heck, it's a good thing I didn't have any money on the game, where I'd really been sweating that UNC game out for a little while. But yeah, I'm going to go Syracuse plus 21.5 here.
Now, I'm not saying I did it, but you said what kind of idiot. But I
No one in
know,
particular, Morgan.
I know someone who may have put their stimulus money on UTEP. I'm just saying. All right, so Tulsa at Oklahoma State. This was one I believe we were trying to pick last week, and now they're playing this week. But Tulsa at Oklahoma State, ranked Oklahoma State here. Again, Tulsa's got a good offense. This is one where I feel like I'm getting led into, oh, you got to pick Oklahoma State because they're going to be the big dogs of the Big 12. They're going to beat everybody. But again, this is the first game of the season. Got a lot of problems starting out. Tulsa actually has a good offense and can hang, and a lot of the sites I'm looking at are picking it to be over the over-under, which I didn't write it down, but it's supposed to be a high-scoring game. At least that's what the experts are predicting. So to me, you can't have a high-scoring blowout, and this is at 23 points. Now, could they beat them by 23 points? Maybe. I believe they beat them by, I think last year they beat them by 20 or 21, so they kept it within that range. So, they've got a 1,000-yard rusher. They've got over 1,000-yard receiver, and they have a over 3,000-yard quarterback. So I'm going to give me Tulsa and the points.
You said there's no such thing as a high-scoring blowout. I think you can watch the Orange Bowl from 2012. And I
don't bring that game up.
Yeah, I think we're going to have that,
Blasphemy.
though. I think you're going to have two teams that are going to score a bunch of points on each other. And Oklahoma State's going to run away with it in the end because they've got more talent and they make just enough stops. I think they cover this game. It's going to be a late cover. I would hammer the over in this game. Hammer the over if you whatever it is. But I think Oklahoma State covers late and wins the game 70-33 or whatever covers late in that.
So Morgan, give me the spread again for this game. I had it 20.5 and you said it was 23.
I've got 23. I'm going to refresh Odds Shark for you real quick. Let me just refresh. And
That's cool.
I've got 23 right now.
23 right now. Okay. Man, that kind of changes things a little bit. I had
stop
Oklahoma
it.
State.
You do that every week, Al. Oh,
I had
changes.
Oklahoma State covering at 20.5. I've got it bold on my paper right here. But I'm not as comfortable with 23. I think Tulsa can score some points here. And just so our humble show host does not go and get his feelings hurt, I'm going to go with our show host again and take Tulsa plus the points here. So Tulsa plus 23. I'm with you, producer Morgan. Morgan, we're probably going to fall in the hole big time after this, but hey, it's cool. We'll try to catch up later on.
Yeah, there's always other weeks in advance, later on. But I'm going to tell you, you're not going to need it because Houston's going to be crying. He's going to be wanting to do over. He's going to be wanting to start over week 3, week 4,
right.
Whatever week we're on. All right, here's an interesting one. App State minus 3.5 at Marshall. Now, Marshall's got Grant Wells, who had everybody drooled over him, 307 yards, 4 touchdowns, but it was against Eastern Kentucky. Okay, so just be careful how much you drool over that. He is a true freshman, or at least a redshirt freshman, rather. And their original starter at quarterback transferred out. Now, we know why, apparently, because this guy's good. Minus 3.5. I'm thinking, App State was supposed to be one of the best teams in their league again, as they always are. I'm thinking, even though it's at home, that was my first thought is, man, this guy was hot and he's going to be at home. He should continue to be hot. But this year, home field advantage is so much different, and App State is a way better team. So I'm going to say App State minus 3.5.
I have a tendency to agree. App State 3.5. This is going to be, to me, the power of the group of 5 game of the weekend. Both of these teams are good. Now, look, I was impressed by Grant Wells. I know you're hating on Eastern Kentucky, but Grant Wells could sling it. I was impressed. App State came out and had to fight against a up-and-coming Charlotte team last weekend. I watched a lot of that game. Both of those teams were really impressive to me. Will Healy's doing a lot of good things at Charlotte. I think App State's going to get the win. They do go over 3, but it's going to be a close game. I think App State pulls away late just because of the inexperience at quarterback in Marshall, and I think they'll win somewhere along the 7-10 range.
All right. Yeah, I'm actually going to go with you guys on this one as well. I'm going to take App State -3.5. Thought they looked pretty good this past week. Nothing super special. Charlotte was able to hang in, but Charlotte's not a bad team either. So I'm going to go with App State. They're going to win this game by 4. You would be absolutely stunned at how often Vegas gets this right on the money, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of heartache too, as well. A lot of sweating it out when you're watching these games. So I'm going to take App State to win this one too.
I'm writing down these stipulations here too. Like a game of horse, Houston said Oklahoma has to come back late. If they don't come back late, I'm giving you a loss. Allen says win by 4. If they don't win by 4, I'm giving you a loss there too. So just letting you know, don't call it. Don't call the shot if you can't make the shot, gentlemen. So just know that. All right, University of South Florida, the Fighting Jeff Scotts. At number 7, Notre Dame -26. Now, statistically, I saw somewhere where Notre Dame -26, that kind of spread in September, they're like undefeated in the past couple of years. So they have history again, on their side. But everybody's saying that Notre Dame's just going to turn it on again. This next, week 2, they're going to work out the kinks, and they're going to get right back to it. Now, they do have a running back that's really good. Now, South Florida, is kind of an average team. They're kind of below average in their conference, and it is kind of a rebuild there. Jeff Scott had a lot of offensive linemen missing, even though they won against the Citadel last weekend, or this past weekend. But -26 at home, can Notre Dame beat South Florida by more than 26? You know what? I'm going with a Clemson guy here. I'm going, give me South Florida +26. I don't care if it's crazy. I'm going with Clemson.
I'm going to say Notre Dame covers this one. Look, I want Jeff Scott to win this game. That would be amazing. But watching what I did of last weekend's game against Citadel, he's got a lot he's got to replace there. And I think the final was 20-6. Not a lot of points on the Citadel. Citadel is not the top tier SoCon team like some of the others that people play. I think Notre Dame ends up running away with it.
I'm afraid I agree with Houston on this one. Trust me, I wanted to pick South Florida so bad in this game. I was looking at the scores, looking at what happened, and I'm like, man, they can keep it within 26, can't they? Can't they? And I'm just like, no, I don't think so. And I just don't think they can. And like I said, after last week, I'm not a huge believer in Notre Dame either. But I just think they're a better team. I think they're going to pull away in the end. I think they'll build, 2-3 touchdown lead probably by halftime, and then score just enough to keep from a garbage score to cover the spread in the end. So I think Notre Dame's going to take this one.
You got to sprinkle in some underdogs here, guys. And you got to follow me sometimes. Maybe I know what I'm talking about. Maybe I don't.
I picked Syracuse as an underdog in Tulsa.
Oh yeah, true. Okay, so I'll give you that one. Charlotte at number 12 UNC -27.5. Now, I'm scared of these high 20s marks, but Sam Howell and everybody were able to kind of get it together. Sage Surratt, ACC Player of the Week on defense. And so I'm going, give me UNC. They beat a ton of teams. They were able to beat a lot of teams late in the season. Mercer, NC State, Temple by more than 27.5. So I think they can do it again and beat Charlotte by more than 27.5.
I think this is a case of something that's closer than the experts think. Charlotte is more talented than people think and give them credit for. I was on the Syracuse bandwagon last week, and for 3 quarters, I thought, "Hey, I'm gonna be 6-2 rolling into next weekend." But then Syracuse's defense just imploded. I think Charlotte's going to hang around in this game, and I think they keep it under 27. I think North Carolina is capable of beating them 21, 24 points. But 27, I think Charlotte's going to fight to the end. Maybe see that backdoor bad beat come in this weekend, but I think Charlotte's going to be able to come in under that 27.
Yeah, I'm going to take UNC in this one as well. I think they got some of those first half kinks worked out. And this last week against Syracuse, and hopefully we're going to see the offense we all expected to see at the start of this game in Game 2 against Charlotte. But Houston, you're right; they are a better team than people think they are. I just think UNC, when firing on all cylinders, is a really good offensive team. I think it's going to be tough to stop. Now, if they want to keep the playbook vanilla, and they may do that against Charlotte, it could come back to bite them. But right now, I'm going to assume they're going to try to sling it around. I'm going to take the Tar Heels.
Here's one that chat's been talking about, been wanting big time. Number 14, University of Central Florida, UCF, at Georgia Tech. Now, Georgia Tech coming off a big win with Jeff Sims as a factor at quarterback, passed for 277 yards and beat Florida State, a team he was originally committed to. But unfortunately, they're going to have to play or host Central Florida, -7.5 favorite there. So Central Florida, can they beat Georgia Tech by -7.5? Dylan Gabriel returns, and he's going to be throwing to Trey Nixon and Marlon Williams, at least what I have down here. Barring any, opt-outs or not able to play, everything looks good, up to Friday. This is Monday still. But I'm going to go ahead and take UCF because, again, it's not so much that Georgia Tech has arrived and Jeff Sims is now the, bringer of a championship to Atlanta. It's more of the fact that Tallahassee is under siege and people are running for their lives. So, I got to pick UCF, and congratulations on winning the game we didn't expect them to win, Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. But, I got to pick UCF. Walt tells me plenty of times this past month that UCF, he believes, is the best team in their conference.
I agree with Walt. Hammer the 7.5. UCF is going to win this game, and they're going to start this obnoxious push to get in the playoff with a win over a Power 5 opponent. Furthermore, just sticking the knife in the hearts of Noles fans in Florida, knowing that they're the not even the second best team in Florida this year.
I'm just going to make this one quick and say I agree. UCF wins big.
All right. Then we've got Clemson, or Citadel at Clemson. I'm going to pick Clemson there. Another big game. Well, let's do this game before the big game, the final big game, rank versus rank matchup in the ACC, guys. But Wake at NC State. NC State -2.5. Wake, they just got – I think the trap you can fall into is holding NC State, holding last year against them. They had a lot of injuries. They had a question at quarterback. But they have a legit running back in Zonovan Knight. Alan and I have talked about him plenty of times. And Wake Forest, they probably will do a lot better on offense from what they did against Clemson because Clemson probably has one of the best defenses in the nation. So the question is, Wake has two pretty good running backs that couldn't get anything going. They have a couple wide receivers that can actually hold their own even against Clemson. Can they go into NC State's house and win? And as I'm talking about this out loud, I want to say yes. I want to say give me Wake +2.5. But I originally wrote down NC State -2.5. It is their first game. Wake is coming off now into their second game. So I'm still undecided on this one, really, to be honest with you, but I know I have to say this out loud. So I'm going to pick the team at home, NC State -2.5. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go with my gut feeling at first, my first thought, even though I just almost talked myself out of it.
You should have, because I was going to agree with you. I think Wake Forest +2.5 is what I'm going to be leaning and going with. After seeing what Donovan Green did, look, he had a great night against Clemson's corners. And I know that not a great night for the defense as far as the cornerback and secondary. There was a lot of people running free, but Donovan Green looked great. And I think they're going to be able to continue that. I don't think NC State has a great defense. And if they're able to capitalize on that, get it to Green and Gruel and the other wide receivers that Wake Forest have, I think Wake Forest wins this game. I'm still not buying into NC State, and I think this is going to be a put up or shut up year for Dave Doran, a.k.a. Toby from The Office.
Well, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to agree with Houston, and I'm going to take Wake Forest +2.5 here. I liked what they were able to do. I say that. How is that? How weird is that to say? I like what they were able to do offensively against Clemson. They got open. They dropped touchdown passes. Okay, will they drop them 2 weeks in a row? I don't know. Maybe. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think Sam Hartman's a good quarterback. He did get popped. He still might be seeing stars from where Levante Bentley, I believe it was, hit him in the Clemson game. But, if he's good to go, I'm liking Wake Forest. I think they're going to be able to move the ball against NC State. I'm just not buying NC State yet, so I'm taking Wake +2.5.
I mean, it's kind of hard to buy them when they haven't played a game at all. So I get it. But,
Yep.
I can't. I'm one of those guys where I look at what my predictions were in the preseason, and I at least need to hold true to them for a week.
Sure.
If I fold after just seeing a few games, I need to hold it. I need to ride it. I need to ride it through one or 2 weeks at least until I see all the teams play a game. And that's kind of another problem that we have this year is that there's a lot of teams we're picking the first couple of weeks that have not played a game at all. It's going to happen next week when we start picking these SEC teams. A lot of teams not played a game at all. We're going to have to, go from scratch on what we believe we'll see. Last game of the night, and then we'll finish it up. Number 17, Miami at number 18, Louisville. Louisville, the favorite at home, -2.5. Now that Louisville versus Western Kentucky game was closer because the special teams caused a couple of problems there. Miami, though, not super convincing me yet. Haven't really seen much from their passing game. Oh, but you see a lot from the passing game from Louisville. 343 yards passing, one of the best the best fantasy quarterback points last weekend, better than Trevor Lawrence. I believe Cunningham had over 30-something points fantasy for you FanDuelers out there. But so I'm going to go, again, I think Louisville's a better team. I think 2.5 is that's just a field goal. I think Louisville at home can beat Miami by more than a field goal, or at least a field goal. So give me Louisville.
Give me Louisville as well. I feel like this is going to be a marquee win for them, a win against a ranked opponent at home. I think they'll be able to contain Derek King and win by over 2.5.
Yeah, I'm taking Louisville as well. I just like what I saw from Louisville. Again, they had that muff punt that let Western Kentucky get a cheap score kind of right down at the end zone. I think they got it, inside the 20. Led to a really quick touchdown. And that win would look more impressive. But I think Louisville's been underrated since, it's the preseason. I think they're going to be a lot better than people thought. Just why we took them last week. And I'm going to take them again this week. Louisville -2.5.